and welcome back to Let's Play Ys, Book 1 and 2. Before we continue on with the game, I figured I'd just show off the load game screen here. Now, as you can see, we've got all our save files here, but we can also display passwords that relate to our save files. Now, these passwords, if you enter them in the password input screen, will take you to the same exact spot as those save files, but you can trade them around to people who also have the game, and if they're stuck on any part, you can give them a password to help them past it. Isn't that neat? Now let's check out the various font types that we can choose here. Got some fairly fancy looking fonts, but I always like basics, so we'll go with that. With that out of the way, let's continue on our journey. Now, last time we completed the shrine and got our first Book of Ys. As you can see right here, we've got the volume of Hadal, but we are unable to read it since it is written in a language that Adol is not familiar in. Alright, let's just get that out of the way. There we go. So, in order to figure out where to go next, we decided to check on Sarah. After all, she put us on this crazy quest. Hopefully she'll have some more hints for us. We don't really have any idea where to go next from here, so it's always good to get some information. Huh. Well, that's troubling. Well, I guess at least we know where to go now. That is very troubling indeed. I wonder who she was so worried about that was going to kill her. Well, we should visit Lair in a bit, but there's some other things we need to take care of in town before we head out. Also, we now know where to go next, since she told us to go to the mine. Now, we have one more item to sell to Pim, which is the necklace. I believe in a previous video I quoted this as being 800 gold pieces. It's actually only 500. But that's 500 that we wouldn't have otherwise, so I can't shake a stick at that. Now, another thing of interest here is that we could buy silver armor from Pim, except not really, because he sold it to someone else. Now, I know what you're thinking. If all the silver equipment has been turning up missing, and we found that silver shield last time, it stands to reason that we could find other silver pieces of equipment. And since these pieces of equipment are better than anything we can buy, wouldn't it be the best just to hold out until we get the silver equipment instead of buying these upgrades? And that's half true, but there is a reason why we're going to want to get the best equipment we can buy, although that won't become apparent until later. Just another thing that you can buy from Pim here is the mirror. If you use it, enemies stop moving. However, you can only use it a limited number of times, or else you'll have to go back and buy a new one. For 1,000 gold, it's not really worth it. We will find one later in the game, so I can show it off then if it's really that important to see. Now let's... Let's buy some equipment real quick. I'm going to invest in the katana. Normally I'd invest in armor upgrades, but we're actually going to be finding an armor upgrade pretty much as soon as we get into the mine. So I'm going to want the damage boost instead. I will be coming back to buy the best armors, though. Also, I'm actually going to equip the armor ring instead of the power ring for the next area we're heading to. And just for safety's sake, I'm going to buy a medicine in order to heal ourselves should we need it. It's 1,000 gold, but we've got quite a bit of surplus going, so I don't feel too bad about buying it. And it looks like Lair isn't going to tell us what we want to know or give us what we want until we find her silver harmonica. That's a bit rude given the circumstances, but I guess we'll just have to deal with it. One thing I guess that's worth commenting on is that what happens to Sarah in this game is a bit different from what happened in previous iterations of the game. In previous iterations, when you walked into her shop at this point, you'd find a man there who'd tell you that she had been murdered. Here, she simply fled out of the fear that she was going to be murdered. And unfortunately, we never actually find out what happens to Sarah in this version of the game. What can you do? Alright. Make a save before going in here, and we're going to have the armor ring equipped because the enemies here are actually quite dangerous at the time. So we're going to want to be careful. Now, as you might have noticed straight away, this mine has quite the annoying gimmick attached to it, and that is we have limited visibility. We can't see very far around ourselves, and it is quite mazy in here. Another thing to note is that each floor of this mine has 3 items on it, except the last one, which I'm pretty sure only has 2, and those aren't particularly critical ones. But the first floor and the third floor, or second floor rather, each have 3 items on them, and they're all pretty important. Well, okay, most of them are pretty important. Just contradicting myself all over the place here. The first, and arguably the most important though that we get, is the silver armor. This is the armor upgrade that I was talking about, and as you can see, another whole tier better than what we could have bought. But like I said, I will be going back to buy the best shield and the best armor available in the town anyway. After we got that, that was the most important item on this floor, so I wanted to make a beeline for it. We're going to grab the other stuff now. One is kind of interesting, but not terribly important, and another is one that I could have actually held out for over something that I actually bought, but better safe than sorry. Let's see. Here is the second item, and the least important item, a heal potion. And since we already have one, it just gets used right away. Now, I could have held out until I got here to fill in my inventory with a heal potion, but I wanted to buy one anyways because 1, well, I just wanted to show off buying heal potions and how expensive they are, and 2, if I happen to walk around a corner and I get trapped inside an enemy, I'm going to take a huge amount of damage, and if I don't have any way to recover from that, that makes things a bit trickier as I try to get through here. So, just for safety's sake, I grabbed a heal potion at the town. The last treasure on this floor is the timer ring. This is the 3rd ring, and it has probably the most unique effect. When equipped, the timer ring will cause enemies to move at half their normal speed. So, on fast, enemies will be moving like they would on slow, and on slow they'll be moving even slower than that. Now, this actually is kind of useful in a couple areas. Not many people would say it is, but I actually think so. In any area, actually, this is one of the areas where it might be a little useful. If you're going to be going blindly into an area that has enemies, having the timer ring equipped can give you more time to react to them, which can be more valuable than having like the armor ring equipped and not taking as much damage. However, in most areas, you're either better off just having the power ring so you can kill things faster, or you're going to be walking through an area where no matter what, you're going to be getting hit, so it's best to just have the armor ring equipped. So, it's very limited in its use. And also, like all rings, it doesn't work in bosses, where it would have been at its best use, but nope, can't use it there. With that taken care of, we shall make a quick save, and head into Mine Depth 2. I will admit, I've been trying to record this episode a couple times, but I had a few failures because I got lost. But hey, I get to keep the takes where I don't completely embarrass myself, so I'll take that as a victory, even if it only is a personal one. Now, I'm heading this way first because the item we get in this room is easily the most important one, or the most valuable to our continued playing of the game. In this chest back here, we get the heal ring. And the heal ring, easily one of the best rings in the game, next to the power ring. What does it do? You equip the heal ring, and you get your passive healing while you stand still that you would have if you were in a field or town area. Very nice. Obviously, it doesn't do you any good while you're in motion, so you better have something like the power ring equipped. But when we need to heal our HP, it pretty much makes the medicine not as useful as it was in the past. There are still instances where you're going to want to be able to restore your HP quickly, so you're going to want to keep those in mind. Actually, now that I think about it, I did kind of miss an important detail about the medicine. You cannot use it in boss fights. Yeah, one of the places where it would have been at its most useful, you can't use it. That's just how things go sometimes. There is one more item we need to get on this floor, and this one is necessary for our progression further into the game. In the literal sense this time. These items are just helpful, but the item that we are about to get is something that we actually need to continue on. Also, I didn't point it out, we got the Rototree Seed there. What that does will become apparent in a little bit. Now, hopefully I don't get lost looking for the third and final item on this floor. Oh, who am I kidding? Of course I'm going to get lost. But hey, we got most of the stuff, so I call that a victory. Oh, no! Found it! And here we get Lair's Silver Harmonica. With this, hopefully she'll be a bit less frigid towards us and actually open up. And we could head deeper into the mine, but the enemies there actually get quite nasty pretty quickly, so we're gonna head back, because the rewards we got from the mines... Ooh, excuse me. Are actually going to allow us to get some very nice items, and Lair also has a nice experience reward waiting for us. Alright, now let's get out of here. Now that we've gotten some level ups and some better equipment, the enemies on this floor are less threatening, so we can choose to go through here a bit faster. Definitely one of the most annoying things about getting out of this maze is that there isn't really a direct path back to the entrance, so you are kind of going to be winding around a bit. Yeah, the limited visibility here mixed with the fact that most dungeons just look the same throughout really makes this one of the most annoying areas in Ys 1. Thankfully, they seem to have learned their lesson from this dungeon, and there isn't really any kind of dungeon that has a similar gimmick in Ys 2, although there's one that's evocative of the imagery at least. Actually, before we head back to town, so we got that Rototree Seed. What does that actually do for us? Well, you may have noticed that this big tree that's a bit conspicuous. Now, once we have the Rototree Seed, we actually understand what the tree is saying if we walk up to it. The foot of his brother. You may have remembered back when we were in Zeptic that certain people were mentioning that they heard strange voices in the fields. Those voices were the Rototrees. As for how you're supposed to know the Rototree Seed will let you talk to these guys, you got me there. Anyways, where is this guy? Don't tell me I'm not going to be able to find the Rototree guy. Ah, yes, here we go. This is literally the only thing worth getting over here, so it's pretty easy to forget this area exists. And, going to the Rototree's brother, we get the Silver Sword. So we're looking pretty styling right now with all this silver equipment. Although I'd argue that the Silver Shield has red as a much more prominent color. But yeah, that Silver Sword represents a significant strength upgrade for us, and it's actually something we're going to really want, because had I tried to go through Mine Depth 3, well, first off, I would have discovered the enemies down there are really tough and would have killed me quickly. But also, I would have discovered that I would literally be unable to kill the boss at the bottom, because he has too much defense to be surmounted by our very low offense. However, between that sword and a special thing that's going to happen here, we should be able to take on that boss, as well as the rest of the enemies on that floor. A special tune? And for returning her harmonica, Lair gives us the second Book of Ys, the volume of Toba. Well, that was a pretty good haul right there. We've got the best armor, we've got one of the best weapons, and we've got quite a few level ups out of the whole ordeal. As well as the heal ring, so I'd say we've gotten a pretty good haul here. Just going to do one more thing here, and that's to buy the reflex armor. That is the third best armor in the game. Let's see. Now for the large shield, we're going to need another 3,000 gold to get it. But our second trip through the mine should give us more than enough money to pick that up. But I think this is as good a place as any to call it. Yeah. Once, when we come back, I will be back in Mine Depth 2, and I will head to Mine Depth 3, and we will finish off our business there, and then continue on with the rest of the game. I hope you enjoyed watching, and please, have a nice day.